Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure vehicle review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Dark Knight's Death Metal Batmobeast. This is essentially a giant Batman monster truck. My buddy Ben found this at Target for me. Shout out to Ben. He called me up, told me he had two of these things. I had him get them for me, went to his house, got them, and here we are. This is a very large vehicle. It's a giant. But the truth is, who really cares about the Batmobeast? Sure, it's kind of a cool thing, but not very practical. I get all the different 6 and 7 inch Batman stuff they make. I'm a completist, so I had to get this, but it doesn't mean I'm going to love it. Kind of going into this with a little bit of a negative attitude. Once I have this, it's not even going to chill in my Batcave. It's not an appropriate, normal addition to the Batman Armory. Now, I saw a guy from McFarlane mention they were sort of testing the waters to see how people would respond to expensive vehicles. Now, whoever made that decision for McFarlane should be fired. Are they tanking the company? Why would you test the waters with something that pretty much nobody cares about? If you're going to test the waters with an expensive vehicle, make it a Batmobile, something you know will sell. Truly confused about this. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I'll probably almost never use this thing. Anyway, hopefully it's going to surpass my expectations. I'm going to love it. Let's go and check out the packaging. And it is giant. The front, DC Multiverse Batmobeast, ages 12 plus. At the top, Batmobeast from Dark Knight's Death Metal, McFarlane Toys. And here it is in the package. Giant monster truck. Looks like we have a collector's card in the background. Now, my understanding, the doors do not open on this thing, and that kind of sucks. But you can take the entire top off and put a figure in there and put the top back on. So it is a functioning vehicle from that point of view. I really hope it holds more than one figure. I was expecting to hold 4, but it's damn sure not going to do that. One side of the pack, DC Multiverse, Batmobeast from Dark Knight's Death Metal. Other side simply says Batmobeast. On the back, here's the vehicle with the top taken off, the sort of shell. Here's the Batmobeast on a little cliff. And here are a bunch of other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures you should check out. So no further ado, let's open it up. And I did end up getting 2 of these things, one of which to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch unopened Batman-related action figure collection. Alright, now that we got this vehicle out of the package, here it is with all the accessories laid out. It doesn't come with any traditional accessories, simply a collector's card. But before we look at that, let's talk about and check out the actual vehicle. So the Batmobeast comes from a different Earth in the multiverse. I don't believe it's ever been actually given a number. In that Earth, Batman was Batman fighting crime, but he kind of took a turn toward the tyrannical. Now, as you know, a lot of the different Batman versions from Dark Knight's Metal, they're evil Batman, but they started off as good and ended up sort of becoming corrupt along the way. Now, in this world, Batman uploaded his consciousness to the entire internet and was spying on everybody. And I guess the people of the world did not appreciate that. They turned against him, ended up killing him. But I guess before he died, he uploaded his consciousness into this vehicle. So it's not only a Batman monster truck, but it has the detective skills and conscious of Batman inside of there. And I guess it talks. I remember reading that Swamp Thing made a dad joke, and it answered the joke. So, honestly, that sounds pretty stupid, and it's kind of gimmicky. From the Dark Knight's Death Metal, of course, all that stuff is super stylized and abstract, and frankly pretty weird. So one could argue this is actually another version of Batman right here. Now I'll tell you my first thoughts when handling this thing. It feels kind of crappy. The shell on the top, it feels like those really cheap RC cars. I bought a couple of them at Target and Walmart from Bright House. They fit in okay with the 1/12 scale figures, but the top just feels like very shitty plastic. I feel like you could break this thing pretty easily if you're not careful. So the doors don't function completely one solid piece, and that sucks. You can actually take the entire top off, so at least you can put a figure in here, but it is a one-seater. I was expecting to be able to hold at least 2 figures. Looks like you'd put probably 1 or 2 figures in the back there. But definitely disappointed it can only hold one person in the cockpit. Being a big monster truck, pickup truck type thing, you'd think it would at least have somebody in the front seat, the driver's seat, and the passenger seat. So let's take a quick look at the vehicle. So, I have nothing but bad things to say about the top part, at least the way it feels, but the bottom part feels excellent. First of all, these giant wheels, got the Batman logo on the hubcap there. The wheels are made of rubber, feel very sturdy, durable, all the sort of tread on it. Now, on the actual tread, there are skulls between each piece. Pretty nice detail there. Of course, the wheels, they move in pairs, the left and right. Same with the front and the back. Pretty much the only action features vehicle has besides being able to take the canopy off. Now going back, you can see all the different sort of suspension in there. Giant monster truck. We got the exhaust on the side. Paint job. Blue and black. What else is Batman going to have? The windows appear to be sort of cracked. There are stickers on them. You can see the front here. Sort of simulates a shattered windshield. Got these lights on the front. Now in order to take the top off, you're going to have to twist this off, remove it, and remove some clips in the back. So at least it's not going to come off on accident. We got these sort of painted headlights. Batman symbol on the front. I don't know if it's supposed to be, but it's quite uneven painted. Other side is going to be the exact same thing. We got the sort of blue and black stripes going, the two wheels, Batman symbol, the skulls. I mean, it's a cool vehicle. It is just not practical at all. I'm assuming you can fit at least one or two figures back here, so it looks like it should comfortably accommodate about 3 McFarlane figures. I noticed another little bat symbol inside of there. So, like I said, it's cool, but also dumb at the same time. And you know what? If you want this thing and you're on the fence because of the price, I would be shocked if you don't find this thing on clearance down the road, whether it be Amazon or Target. Can't imagine this thing's going to be that good of a seller. I just don't really perceive it as a very desirable Batman vehicle. Of course, I say that coming from a guy who bought 2 of these things at full price. But I have a sickness. It's called being a completist. I'm going to get everything Batman-related McFarlane puts out, whether I like it or not. So you'll hear my honest opinion moving forward. And then, here's the vehicle broken down as far as it can go, with all of its removable parts detached. But we'll take a look at how to remove the canopy shortly later in the video. Now to take a look at the collector's card. As you can see, it's simply an image of the Batmobeast on top of a cliff. You can really only see part of the vehicle. Batmobeast from the Dark Knight's death metal. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. And let's take a quick look at all 4 sides of the Batmobeast. Here's the right-hand side. Here's the front of the truck. Here's the left-hand side. And here's the back of this thing. Now let's check out the measurements of this thing. So, from one wheel to the other, about 17.5 inches long. From the bottom to the tallest point, about 11 inches tall. And from wheel to wheel, as far as how wide this thing's going to be, about 11.5 inches wide, in case you want to know how much shelf space you'll need for this thing. Now let's check out the action features. So, just like I said before, it does have actual functioning wheels on both the front and the back. That's pretty much about it as far as action features go. The top is removable, so it can hold at least 1 figure, hopefully 3. So, let me show you how to take the top off. So it's got this little clip thing on the back, kind of like locks into place. You can pull it out. There is one on either side here. Pull the 2 of those out. Then you can kind of unhook the back from here and slide it up. But that is not enough to take the entire part off. And do be careful. This material feels like it could be very fragile. There's also this piece on the front. These are the lights. Now, you can simply sort of twist this thing, and there's a little hole inside of there. You got to get it to fit just right, and it will come out of the hole. This will allow the entire top part to come off. Now, you still have this inside of here. There is a little sort of gap here, and that's where you'll twist this thing, kind of be able to fit out of there. This part here, you'll insert and then simply screw it on. It has a part just like that. And here's the top removed. You can remove the headlights, the two clips, and the entire top part, leaving you the sort of shell. And you know what? The shell part looks actually pretty cool as well. Almost looks like more of a traditional Bat vehicle than with the top on. Now before I put the top back on, I wanted to put the death metal Batman inside. This right here is the specific Batman intended for this vehicle. Although I imagine pretty much any Batman will fit in this. It very boldly states on the front of the package that it will accommodate any 7-inch McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. So, let's get this guy in there. You can also see just how large this thing is next to a 7-inch McFarlane figure. Here's Batman seated inside the monster truck. Now, you could put his hands around the steering wheel, although it's a very tight fit. I didn't really want to mess with opening his fingers up and doing that. But I did find out the steering wheel has articulation. You can go from side to side. That's pretty cool. Now, this particular Batman has a long, sort of leather trench coat. It has a split in the back, which allowed him to fit on the death metal Batcycle pretty nicely. And it helps him fit in this seat. A traditional Batman with a full plastic cape, it might work, but it might be kind of difficult to get him on there. Just sort of looking at Batman in the cockpit here. This is going to be where the back windshield is, and you should have this sort of back compartment, similar to a pickup truck, and you should be able to fit at least one figure in there. Now let's get the top put back on. I did want to point out, when putting this thing back together, be very careful on the back here. Some very thin pieces of that sort of fragile feeling plastic. You can see how it can bend very easily. I can see one of these smaller pieces cracking or breaking off. Just be careful. Here's the truck with the top put back on. Everything back into place. Batman's actually in the cockpit right now, although you can't quite tell from this angle. You can kind of see the shape or outline of Batman in there. And with that shattered effect on the front of the windshield, you really cannot see him at all through the front. You can kind of see where he is from the side there, though. Plenty of room in the back for a figure to be standing up. Here's the death metal Superman playing the death metal Batman's guitar in the back of the monster truck. Now, the surface area there is not completely flat. Gotta kind of lean the figure back a little bit, but you can definitely get it to work. And you can see just how massive this monster truck is from this picture. And the back part can accommodate two figures standing up. Here's the death metal Superman and death metal Wonder Woman in the back. Meanwhile, the death metal Batman in the front. So it looks like it can comfortably accommodate three figures. Now, it's a pretty tight fit in the back, but you can have two figures sitting down in there. And Wonder Woman has a pretty long cape, so you can just sort of fold that under her and it works okay. Although one figure will fit in there very spaciously, I don't think they're actually supposed to sit like this. I think they're supposed to stand up, like I had him with the guitar. For the rest of this review, I decided to move to a city street scene type setup. Here's the Batmobeast in the streets of Gotham. Just looking at the front of this monster truck, I think it'd be cool if it had some actual functioning lights. I could see some people doing some really cool custom additions to this thing. Seems like at least we should have some stickers on that thing. Here's Batman standing next to this monster truck, and a side view of the death metal Batman next to the death metal Batmobeast. And I'm not even sure how Batman is supposed to get into this thing. There's no way he can climb up it easily. I think Batman is actually have to use his grapple launcher just to get inside of the Batmobeast. Here are 16 Robin Crows in the streets of Gotham, setting them up like bowling pins. The death metal Batman is driving the Batmobeast right through that flock of Robin Crows. Here we go. Here are a whole bunch of Robin Crows trying to tear apart the Batmobeast. Here's the death metal version of the Trinity in front of the Batmobeast. Now let's check this thing out next to some other action figures. Here it is with the death metal Trinity. These are some regular 7-inch scale McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. You can see just how massive the Batmobeast is behind them. We've got the death metal Superman, death metal Batman, death metal Wonder Woman, and that guitar on the side. That's actually the death metal version of Plastic Man. Here's the Batmobeast, with several different Batman figures from the comics in front of it. Being that this is a Batmobeast, it is a Batman vehicle. Curious how some Batman figures would look next to it. And here it is, next to a few different McFarlane Mega figures. Swamp Thing is a hair over 11 inches tall. It's pretty much the exact same height as a Batmobeast. What a large vehicle. Here are all the evil Batmen from the Dark Knight's metal. Each one of them is from a different Earth in the multiverse. Each one was Bruce Wayne and somehow got corrupted and turned to evil along the way. The Batmobeast is no different. It was Bruce Wayne, his Earth. He ended up becoming an evil ruler and is now in the Batmobeast. As weird as that is, it's a thing. Now let's check it out next to some other 6 and 7 inch scale Batman vehicles, and we'll start off with the Batman vehicles that McFarlane has made. Here's the Death Metal Batmobeast next to the Death Metal Batcycle. Both some really cool vehicles, but neither one is very practical. I found myself getting very little use out of these two. Then, next to McFarlane's White Knight Batcycle, and here, next to the Batman Batcycle. Then, next to McFarlane's Batraptor. I had to come to the other room for this next part. Now I want to compare it with some other 6 and 7 inch scale Batman vehicles from different various companies. And I'm going to start off with some of the larger ones that I have. Here it is, next to the infamous DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Batwing, one of the largest Batman vehicles they make in the 6 and 7 inch scale. Then, next to the Mattel Flying Fox. This is for 6 inch scale basic Justice League figures. And here, next to a Hot Toys 1/12 scale The Bat from the Dark Knight Rises. This is one of the very few 6 inch scale vehicles that Hot Toys makes. Then, next to the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Batmobile. And here, next to the Mattel 6 inch scale Ultimate Radio Controlled Batmobile from Justice League. And then, next to the Mattel 6 inch scale Justice League Multiverse Batmobile. And here, next to the Mattel 6 inch scale Nightcrawler. This is for the 6 inch basic Justice League figures. Then, next to the Soap Studios 6 inch scale Dark Knight Tumbler. And here, next to an older Mattel 6 inch scale 2005 comic Batmobile. And here, with a Super Friends Batmobile, not exactly 6 inch scale, but you can fit some of the larger action figures in this. The aesthetic definitely reminds me of the Batmobeast. Here it is, next to the Spin Master Batmobile. This is intended for the 12 inch scale figures, but it fits in so nice with the 6 or 7 inch scale figures. And finally, next to a couple of 6 inch scale Batcycles, on the left we have the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Batcycle, on the right, the Mattel Movie Masters Dark Knight Batpod. Now let's check this thing out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how it fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix it with. Now, this thing will accommodate pretty much any 6 or 7 inch figure in the cockpit, as long as their legs are articulated properly. In front of you, it's not going to work with this Walking Dead figure here, as he has really poor leg articulation, but it should work with the other 3 figures. As long as their hips can go forward and their knees can bend, they'll fit in this thing. The cockpit is extremely big. Here it is, with some of its McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 4 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7 inch scale, all next to the Batmobeast. Then, next to some more McFarlane figures. These are from different various video game properties. And although this Batmobeast is not from a video game, it damn sure looks like it could have been from something like Twisted Metal. And now, next to some Jakks-Pacific wrestling figures. Now these Jakks-Pacific are older wrestling figures, pretty much the largest and tallest line I collect. They're easily a full 7 inches tall, and they're pretty poorly articulated, and even these guys fit this thing. So I'll tell you, pretty much every action figure I show you is going to fit this thing, unless they have absolutely no leg articulation. And here it is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman figures. And here, with some NECA Batman figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here it is, next to some Mezco 112 collective Batman figures. Then, next to some Mattel, DC Universe Classics, and Multiverse Batman figures. And here, next to some Maplex Batman figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here it is, next to some SH Figure Arts Batman figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwars Fortnite figures. Overall, it is a cool vehicle. Definitely has a cool factor going for it. The bottom half of the vehicle, the tires, and the shell underneath, I have really nothing but good things to say about it. I really don't like the sort of crappy soft plastic shell on the top. Sure, it looks just fine, but I really don't like how fragile it feels. I feel like if you're not careful with this thing, you could chip a little piece off the edge. I'm being a little over dramatic. It's not like that fragile. It has plenty of give to it. Just don't really like how it's handled. For the price here, I think it should be some hard plastic, a little better detailed, a little bit sturdier, and honestly, I don't think some functioning headlights would be too much to ask for. Like I said, it does have the cool factor, feels pretty good in hand, except for the top plastic part, but it's just not very practical. This is for a very narrow set of circumstances pertaining to Dark Knight's metal and Death metal. I don't really see myself getting a ton of use out of this action figure vehicle. Now, if I go back in time, yes, I still would have bought it, but I'm really not loving it like I should love an $80 Batman vehicle. Like I said before, I think it makes absolutely no sense for them to test the waters with something so obscure like this. How about they make a Batmobile from The Batman or from the comics? Come on, seems like a no-brainer. Seems like a really dumb decision to even make this. I'm happy out of the collection, but it's just not going to have a great place in my Bat Cave or my typical Bat Armory. So, if I were to rate this thing, I originally thought, going into this, I was going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It is really cool. Feels really good, especially the shell and the tires. Definitely was disappointed that it couldn't hold at least 2 figures in the front. It should be able to hold somebody in the front seat and the passenger seat. That is a disappointment to me. You can still accommodate 3 figures very comfortably. Hopefully this is the last thing they make from Dark Knight's metal or Death metal. Definitely kind of over all that stuff. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure and action figure vehicle reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.